Thoughts are rising, vision blurring, rage taking over.
Here's Paul Calvisi.
I'm ready. I'm 100% ready. I'm telling you I'm ready.
And Ron Wolfley.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Unleash the fury!
All Red Sea, here we go. I want to show of hands right off the top. Who has already violated their New Year's resolution? Come on now. Oh, look at that. Yep, okay, we're in the trust tree here right off. Knock it off. Wolf, who says there's no NFL programming on this Thursday night? Are you kidding me? We are the original Thursday night football, and whenever we have a nose tackle, a 15-game starter, we're most definitely putting the big into Big Red Rage tonight. How about it, everyone? Roy Lopez.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, Paulie. By the way, right now, I'm on vacation, Paul, as you well know. 14 days of vacation, yet at the same time, I have all these things I have to do for the Arizona Cardinals, like Big Red Rage tonight. Yet at the same time, Paulie, you know that these 14 days, I'm putting on about 16 pounds. Okay? And that's really hard to do, is it not, Roy? 14, I mean,
it's kind of easy, to be honest. Around this
time
of the
really?
year. Yeah. 14 is light at this time of the year.
Okay, so this time of the year where you'd like to go ahead and maybe have a feast from time to time or sit down and chow something, what does Roy Lopez like to chow the most?
Well, I'll throw down some tacos.
So what kind of tacos? I mean, you know.
Well, most likely they're probably my mom's tacos. So,
okay.
She tries to keep them healthy, which is nice. So I'll eat like ground turkey tacos.
Oh, right? Ground turkey
Or I'll eat
tacos.
some shredded beef tacos, but I'm clearing 10.
Okay,
easy.
now Roy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said some. What's the over-under on number of tacos?
I'm clearing 10 easy.
10 easy. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, I love the fact that the man admits it, right? I'm clearing 10 easily. That's what I'm doing. Are you a spice guy, though?
Not too much.
Not too much.
Just for the taste.
Okay, just for the taste. All right, I like that right there. For me,
we can
I
go
just
food all
loaded
day.
on, man.
Yeah, we can go food all day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Habanero loaded on.
Speaking of mom, all you have to do is look into the front row here at Trophy and Chandler. Why don't you name some names, because the Lopez family is representing here tonight.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the beauties of me, being from Arizona is I get to do a lot of these things with my family, which is pretty cool. So front row, I got my mom, my dad here. I got my cousin, who is also my trainer, Marcos Esquivel. I got my tío Larry here.
Oh, yeah, Larry back there. Yeah, Larry.
It's amazing. I see some of these faces on the road. Like,
oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Your
yeah,
family members are there like in row 3 a lot of times.
Yeah, they travel well, man. My family's, they got the biggest hearts in the world. And I got my cousin Michelle back there. Wait, yeah. And her family as well.
Man.
So just, and then I got my other tío coming out later tonight as well. So this is awesome.
Here's the really cool thing about this right now. Of course, your dad is a coach, okay? And how many other people in your family work in the game of football in regard to being a coach?
I don't think there's a man in my family that does not do football.
Are you serious?
Everybody's a high school football coach somehow, some way.
Oh, my goodness.
Whether it's a head coach, O-line, D-line coach, something. It's been like that since my whole life.
See, that blows me away because, I grew up in a football family. My older brother, Craig, he played 12 years in the NFL. My younger brother, Dale, is past, but he was better than both of us put together. He played a long time in college football, and yet at the same time, that's nowhere even close to what you've just described. You are a football family, are you not?
100%. I always say that, all their journeys, led up to me being right here, right? Everything that they learned throughout their time, and they were all great football players and in every sport they played in, really. And so they understood what it took to get to where they were at, right? And then in order for me to take the next step, they invested all their love, time, energy, and effort into me growing up, whether it was in junior high, high school, college, and it wasn't just me that made it, to the NFL. It was all of us, man. That's why they always come to everything, because they deserve it, man. They deserve it.
Oh, I love it, man.
Yeah. And a Tempe native. It's not like anyone needs GPS around here, okay? They know exactly where they're going. And we're going to get into this and do a deep dive a little bit later, all right? Into his upbringing, high school ball here. Maybe we'll even get into the fact a year at U of A. Even a former U of A guy saw last night that it was targeting against Texas in that game. We'll get into that maybe a little bit later. But here you are. You have 1 week left in the regular season. Just tell us about the mindset. You got a division game, right? Nobody likes the stinking 49ers. Everybody wants a season sweep against San Francisco, okay? So tell us about the vibe in the locker room, the mindset going into Week 18.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing every single week, and we're hungry as ever, because this group of guys, we truly do love each other, and I think that's something you can see whether you're at the game or you're watching on TV. We'll fight tooth and nail for every single yard someone's got to get on us, and every single yard we gain, and that comes from the top down, from the coaches to the leaders on our team. JG started the week meeting hot this week, right? Just coming in fire and yelling, and that's something that, it doesn't matter. That happened week 3, so we're 15 and now 18 weeks, but 15-week difference of this man just fired up every single day, so being able to play for a guy like that, it's easy, to go to work.
We host his TV show every Monday. Wolf, does that surprise you that JG came in hot?
No, that does not surprise me.
Sounds like him coming into the
just
studio.
Yeah. But, for the most part, too, I know what it's like to play on a lot of teams where you've been eliminated. Unfortunately for me, I know what that's like in November.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Being eliminated. Yet at the same time, it really taught me what the game was all about.
Right.
When you were playing in a quote-unquote meaningless game, there is no such thing as a meaningless NFL game.
Yeah, I can agree, man. I've been on the teams that were, done in November, right? And so, I would say it every week to my family, like, oh, that next week's a big game. But that next one is going to be a really big game. And my Theo kind of just told me, like, every game from here on out is big. So it was one of those. It was definitely a cool moment in my career to be able to play in a game where every play matters. So in every single one does in every game, but those ones you can feel it, man.
I've got this idea that there's a lot of guys in the locker room who play this game and play it as hard as they possibly can. It's one of the reasons why JG and Monty Ossenfort brought you in, and a lot of other guys that are built like you mentally, to bring you in and say, let's go and let's ball out and let's do the best that we possibly can. To me, I used to love playing in games that were quote-unquote meaningless because I'd go out there and challenge myself coming out of the tunnel. What are you going to do today?
Right.
What are you going to do today? Not what your team is going to do today, but what are you going to do today?
Right.
Are you going to win or lose? Yourself.
Right.
Do you think there's a lot of guys that come out of the locker room and have that mentality?
100%. I mean, you can take it back to last year when we went into Philly, right? It's not much to play for, people say, but you go in there into a playoff team and we take them 4 quarters, we take them down the wire and end up winning the game, So that's the beauty of football. I think the biggest thing, a lot of guys in this locker room, people can say you're playing for money or you're playing for status or whatever, but the biggest thing on this team, there's a reason why this team was brought together, is for respect. We're a bunch of guys that just are dying for respect in the NFL, right? And so we play like that. And the moment we get recognition, we try to bring it as a group because that's who we've leaned on throughout this whole process.
So I have to ask you this right here because I expected you guys to come out against Carolina hot, so to speak, and you guys did not. Why do you think that might have been Roy Lopez?
Honestly, I think they played great ball. They played a great game. Chuba played a great game. Bryce played a great game, and hats off to them. At the end of the day, obviously we do got to play better. But they had a great game plan. They executed well. Their coaches called a great game, and it's tough. We weren't able to pull that one out.
I was thinking there's about 13 or 14 guys that are year 2 or under that are actually playing in rotations or are starting on this team right now. Do you think it's the young guys that are still developing that suddenly caught up to you in Carolina?
Right. I think that's also something that you never get over that, right? And here I am, year 4, still improving, still learning, right? So as far as to say it's the young guys, doing that's gonna be for as long as we play football, So thankfully, we have a great group of young guys on this team.
And the reason why I keep asking you about this, Roy, is because it was so unlike everything else I have seen from you guys all season long for the most part.
Right, and right in the thick of that game, if anybody were able to see our sidelines, you can just see us look at each other and lean up. Like nobody crossed each other. Nobody gave up on one another. It was, okay, we got 8 minutes left, and it's close. Like, we just made it a game again, and so that was the biggest thing, is like, we need one stop.
And it's
okay,
so hard
we need
to do that
yeah, we need one,
midstream.
yeah,
so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and last year you guys did something similar, right? Not only at Philly, at Pittsburgh, a couple of playoff teams you knocked off on the road. Here's Kyler Murray on going into the offseason on a high note.
Going into last game offseason, I think it's big to feel good about your last performance. At least me personally, I would like to go into the offseason playing well and have that, on your mind. That's the last thing you remember, So that's why I think that's what we want to do, is go out there and play well, obviously, to win the game.
If you go back to Week 7, this Cardinals defense, ever since Week 7, has allowed the fewest touchdowns in the NFL. Let that hang in the air a minute. Budda was asked about that earlier today. He said, yeah, to begin the season, maybe we didn't quite have the run fits correct. We're doing a better job now of affecting the quarterback. What do you think has gone into the improvement in the defense as a whole this second half of the season?
Yeah, I think that's from the top to the bottom as well. JG and Nick Rawlis. Man, Nick Rawlis is a dog, man. He's going to be a great coach for a long, long time, man. So he's someone that learns from himself, in being able to step back and watch the game tape and study himself as a play caller, right? And so that's something that, as a player, you love to play for somebody like that, right? It's something that you have to have humility in doing that, and so being able to make adjustments, whether at halftime, before the game, during the game, right? It's something that we've all grown together.
Maybe even season to season. As an example, this last game, Kyron Williams, a year ago, he ran for over 300 yards in the 2 games. Wolf pointed this out on the broadcast during the game. Look what you guys did against him this year. You guys stuffed him in both games. Can you see that as a sign of growth? And maybe even the coaches with the game plan, right? Getting ready for Kyron Williams from one season to the next.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that it goes into mindset. It goes into respect, understanding that, he had over 300 yards in both times we played him. And so, he probably went into the game thinking that he's probably going to do it again. So that just goes into the respect aspect of, we don't want to be that defense that people highlight and say, we want to get 300 yards this game, right? It goes into respect.
All right, we're going to continue. Just getting rolling. Starting nose tackle, Roy Lopez of the Arizona Cardinals. It is the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert, live from Trophy and Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson.
Moving around in the pocket, looking, everybody covered. Now Allen in trouble. Sexton fumbled the ball, and the Cardinals recovered at the 29-yard line. Roy Lopez gets the sack.
Roy Lopez with the tomahawk, baby.
Stevenson, the tailback, gets the carry, running to the left, and it's going to be close. I don't think he got it. And the Cardinals take over on downs at their 4-yard line.
Shades of Dumpster Dan right there from Roy Lopez. Oh my goodness, what an awesome job at the point of attack.
Darnold looking over the middle, dumps it off, complete to Jones, and the ball's out, and it's recovered by the Cardinals. It was punched free, and Roy Lopez falls on it.
I love that right there. Roy Lopez fell on that ball, man. Stuck that ball in his belly button.
There you go. Sean Murphy funding the forced fumble and the fumble recovery. I don't know about the belly button. Well, you know what? Let's just ask Roy Lopez here on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford. Roy, have you or have you not ever stuffed a football into your belly button?
No.
He's a big man, Paul.
What percentage of plays as a nose tackle, for those, and that's 99.9% of the world who's never played nose tackle in a football game, how would you describe your job? How often do you get double-teamed? Just how dirty and filthy and physical does it get down there at the epicenter of humanity?
Yeah, it's the real deal, man. That's when people think, football banging and everything like that, that's the nose guard position. Everything happens so fast. You're the first person to make contact every single play. So you're getting double-teamed. You're getting washed down the line of scrimmage, and you got to be able to, anchor the point of contact. And it's something that, I love to do because, not a lot of guys get to go against the same guy for 60 minutes, mano y mano, right? And it's something that it comes down to off-season training, comes down to mindset, it comes down to if you really want it or not, So anything between the white lines for 60 minutes, it's on.
You know, I played with many nose guards, and they would say often that it's the most paranoid position on the field. And the reason being is because typically you line up over the center, of course. If you are playing nose tackle, you have the center, you have the right guard, and you have the left guard. And you never know which way it's actually going to come from. Do you feel that, Roy? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm in my own little world in there in that little box. You know, like there's so much of football you guys, you know, are watching from the stands or up top, and I got my own little center, 2 guards, right? It's something that, you know, I love it. I appreciate it. Even, you know, I'm taking a double team. I'm probably not going to make the tackle, but you got to find love in the little things when it comes to the nose guard world, you know. So my family's gotten to enjoy the nose guard life, you know, since I've been in the league. So
you know what else is coming back in the NFL? I just saw it. I've seen us do it, as a matter of fact. The wham block.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
I've gotten
right?
whammed a few times.
Yeah, that center's going to look at that nose tackle, set him up, and then go away from the wham, and here comes the tight end.
Straight
here
ear
comes
hole.
a fullback.
Yeah.
Wham.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I want to know how much your heavyweight wrestling career has served you well at the position. But first, you spoke of the offseason. Here's Nick Rawlis, your defensive coordinator. This is in training camp, right? Going into this season on how he was challenging you to lead more.
I challenged Roy to become a leader on this defense, and I think he's done a great job of that. He does a phenomenal job for us in the run game. You want to talk about anchoring a double team. He's hard to move in there. And then when he gets his shot to go one-on-ones, he'll get knocked back, and he does a good job pushing the pocket on pass downs.
Your reaction to that, and how has this season gone in your estimation?
Yeah, I think that's something that if you watch the tape or watch games, you know, that's what he says as far as taking a double team, anchoring a double team. And the moment, you know, I get on one-on-one, I lick my chops, right? It's something that I wait 60 minutes for a one-on-one, you know, so and as far as a leader, I think that just goes into, you know, being who I am. You know, at the end of the day, thankfully I grew up with a family that they're all leaders in their workplace, and, you know, so it's kind of just being second nature of being able to have a voice, but also it comes through actions. You know, it comes through you get your reputation through your reps, right? And so being able to show up every single day early, do the little things, pop out on tape with just effort and want to. You know, I think that's something that when leading a room goes a long way.
You know, Roy, a football player is body, soul, and spirit, all 3. You've got to have all 3 to play the game correctly. So tell me what a nose tackle needs in terms of body, soul, and spirit in order to be a good nose tackle in the NFL.
Right. I think the body, I kind of don't fit the normal nose guard description.
Why do you say that?
Most nose guards are about 6'5", 320, 330.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Okay.
But the biggest thing for me, which is nice, is I'm a little shorter. So I get the embedded pad level. I think that's the biggest thing as far as a nose guard is pad level. You know, getting your screws underneath their screws. Low man wins.
Low man wins.
You hear that, you know, from the moment you start football. You know, so thankfully I'm usually lower than everybody.
And you got really good feet too, don't you?
I think that, goes back to me growing up around football, you know, and I'd get bored and just hop on the agility ladder. And also my trainer, you know, he's my cousin, but he's pretty mean to me. So so he'll make fun of me and say I got slow feet. So.
And what is your weight at, I should say, right now?
I range from 305 to 310.
Okay.
Yeah. So throughout the season, that's kind of where I go. I usually play around 308.
Okay. I like you at about 320. Okay.
That makes Wolf feel better about himself considering all the weight he's put on the holiday season. That's why.
Yeah, that's big boy weight right there.
So to what degree does your wrestling background serve you well in the trenches? Because for those who don't know, you won 2 state titles in high school as a heavyweight champion. I mean, how about that? And you led it all 4 years. So how often does that come into play in this job?
Yeah, I think, you know, some people reference it all the time when watching my tape. It looks like I'm wrestling, right? Because everything is about inside hand placement, pad level, low man wins. The moment you lean too much, I'm going to snatch you, right? And being able to attack one arm at a time is the biggest thing. I do it in off-season training, whether it's boxing or wrestling. You know, thankfully my Theo also does self-defense for the police academy, so I'm able to go in there and train with him, roll around with him. So it's all around. It's changed my life for sure. I love the game of wrestling.
So you grew up here, and you went to Mesquite?
Yes,
high
sir.
school?
I went to 2 high schools. I
You
went
went
to
to-
Marcos Deniza, and I transferred to Mesquite.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit. Why did you transfer? What
Yeah.
was going on with that?
Yeah, my dad was the head coach at Marcos Deniza.
Okay.
And so then after my sophomore year, he resigned. So we kind of, it was kind of crazy. We went on to, it was like we were doing college visits, man, to a bunch of schools and seeing where we're going to go. And, ultimately we chose Mesquite to play both ways in high school. And they had a good wrestling program, so we wanted to, I wanted to chase a dream of winning more state titles than my dad.
Wow.
So thankfully I was able to do that, but that was the biggest thing was for me. I wanted to wrestle and I wanted to play both ways.
What's amazing, too, is in the course of basically 2 years, you went from New Mexico State to U of A to the NFL. What was that like, that whole 2 years? And think about the competition, right, and how it accelerated from New Mexico State, and all of a sudden you're a Houston Texan and you're playing in NFL games your rookie year.
Right. I think going to New Mexico State, it kind of comes full circle of me standing up here and saying that the biggest thing that this team fights for is respect. And there's a reason why we're all on this team. And because, a guy like me goes to New Mexico State, I feel like I'm a great player, so you got to fight for respect every single down, and some games at New Mexico State, you're down 50-6,
Yes.
right? And so, I'm still in there in the fourth quarter fighting for respect,
Yes.
So it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot to come from there, and then ended up transferring, being able to come home and play for U of A, and that was amazing, changed my life, and I made the decision to leave early from U of A, only went there 1 year, and there I was getting drafted in front of my whole family. It was one of the best days of my life, but it was a humbling moment for sure. Once all the phone calls started ringing in, and because I never had that, right? I never was the big recruit star guy, and so when I got to Houston, it was the same thing of having to earn respect. And I come here as a guy that just got injured, waived, coming off an injury. Nobody really knows who I am, and they kind of just saw me on tape before, and now it's like that feeling again of being the new kid at new school and the new kid on the team of, you got to prove yourself every single day, and I think that's something that never leaves you as long as you're in the league.
You know what's amazing about your story as well? I grew up in Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo Bills play, right? They play right there, and I grew up there, born and raised there, and I always wondered what that would be like to actually go and play, to play for the Buffalo Bills, and I never had that opportunity to do it, and I loved my time, of course, with the Cardinals organization for 7 years, but talk to me about what it's like to actually play here.
Yeah.
Where you grew up with your family. And there seems like there could be a lot of distractions, and at the same time, it feels like there could be a lot of good things that come from that.
I'll start off with as far as distraction goes, everything that I do, my family, thankfully is very understanding, and they allow me to focus on my career. Because they've been through the whole part, with me.
They're a football family.
They know
They
know my daily routine, and so they don't ever really budge, and they're kind of really patient with me. If I can go to things, I can go to things. But I think the coolest thing for me playing here was, being able to throw my youth camps in the off season, in say an Arizona Cardinal, right, and for the kids to see, oh, he's from here and he plays for the Cardinals. Like it's insane to even say out loud, and then. But also doing my foundation events as far as being able to meet people throughout the state and say I'm also from here. The kids' eyes or men's eyes or women's eyes just kind of light up the moment I say it and tell them where I'm from.
Very cool.
And I think that's been the coolest thing. Playing here and the Arizona across your chest, it means something to me. And I got it tattooed on me, and it's truly a blessing that I know not a lot of people get to do, players in the NFL. So I played here as an away team. Houston played here my rookie year, and we cleared over 100 people in that game. It was insane, So
speaking of distractions, right?
Yeah, right.
That was hard.
Right. So it's been a ride, man, and thankfully, God blessed me to be able to play here for the home states.
By the way, the 4th annual Roy Lopez football camp going to be April 5th of this coming year. Now that it's 2025, the RoyLopezFoundation.org. How about that? We got this all down here, Roy. We got this down. In fact,
awesome.
Here's Jonathan Gannon. This is back in training camp, just talking about how he loved a bunch of Roys on his roster.
If you had 90 Roys, you'd be good to go. he keeps a good attitude. He's always working on his game. He's team first. He's willing to do whatever you tell him to do. He's got a smile on his face. Like he's a phenomenal human being. He enjoys coming to work, and he gets better at his game. So, yeah, I'd love a bunch of Roys.
And having grown up here, did you take a moment the first time you went into the Cardinals locker room and there was a Cardinals jersey and helmet in your locker? Was that a moment for you?
I take that moment every day, man. Literally, I sit there and I just kind of take a deep breath and realize where I'm at that moment, you know. And not a lot of people, you know, people always say, I wish I knew I was in the good moment when I was in it, you know. And so I always just kind of breathe and look around, like every game day, especially every home game, man. I look around like I'm really here right now, you know. Okay, lock in, right?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, the first day I showed up and I had a shirt in my locker and had Lopez number 98 and my Theo wore number 98 at Illinois State. He was my D-line coach growing up, so I sent a picture to him and you know, told him I was gonna wear 98 and told him I wore it better, you know. So
Wow.
so but yeah, so.
And then there's week 1, and you get the sack and the fumble forced against Josh Allen. How about that right out of the gates? By the way, 3 career sacks. Are you a guy who remembers every single quarterback, or does it all bleed together?
Every single one.
Okay. All right, so let's test you. Because you had one your rookie year, you had one your second year. Who are the quarterbacks? Do you remember?
Brissett.
Yep,
My
Jacoby
rookie year.
Brissett.
Then my second year was Malik Willis.
Correct.
And
yes.
then this year was Josh Allen.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Josh Allen's a big dude.
He is.
There's a degree of difficulty in getting him to the ground, isn't there?
Right. After the play, you know, celebrated everything. My mom, my dad, and my Theo were there, and I kind of looked up at the stands, and they're all crying, right? Just completely bawling their eyes out, right? And I look at them like, what just happened? And they're like, I don't know. And so I'm like pacing back on the sideline, trying to just lock in and remember that I got to play a scoop block coming up. But, you know, I got a couple double teams coming my way. So I think that was the biggest thing, was just being able to enjoy the quick 10 seconds of it. And then, all right, like we're still in it, man. That was the first quarter, right? So we still had another 3 quarters to go. So, yeah.
So your dad, this guy is a coach. This guy knows what he's talking about in regard to the game of football. Does he coach you? Does he say, hey, boy, listen, you got to do this?
Yeah, I think a lot of things that they do say, and between him and my Theos and my grandpas, everything that they say is more pointers, right? And being able to be there for me mentally, right? And whether that's just breathe, calm down, next play, if it was a good play or a bad play, right? And being able to, the pad level, keep your feet hot, keep your hands hot.
More about your approach,
right,
as opposed to the technique.
So I think that's the biggest thing. And then the offseason, we get to it, and that's when we really lock in on, you know, being harsh on me, you know. So, but I need that, man. I need it. It's hard love.
Cool.
I need it.
All right, we roll on. Roy Lopez is our guest. It is the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford, live from Trophy and Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson.
Jet sweep, near side McBride, stiff arming, touchdown, Trey McBride on the handoff.
McBride is so good running the football.
Cardinals rush 5, in trouble, Smith steps up, sacked by Budda Baker, caught by McBride, wrapped up, broken tackle though, and then he hurdles a defender at the 40. That was Gronk-esque.
You can't control Trey McBride.
Blitz coming, Rodgers has no chance, sacked by Budda Baker.
It's Trey McBride on a quick tight end screen and into the end zone. Trey McBride finds pay dirt.
Budda Baker came off the edge clean, and Aaron Rodgers got his back waxed.
Between 4 Jets, the ball is caught by Trey McBride.
Trey McBride, you are a bad, bad man. Are you kidding me?
We could spend the rest of the show just going through the stats and the accomplishments from the 2 Pro Bowlers, the Arizona Cardinals, official today. How about a Trey McBride and Budda Baker? Going to the Pro Bowl 2024. It is the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford. Roy Lopez is our guest here on the big show. And think about Budda Baker, number 2 in the NFL in tackles. the top 20 is like 19 linebackers and Budda.
Right.
And then you got Trey McBride, who's had 3 12-catch games. Nobody's done that in NFL history in one season. If he has another one, he ties Zach Ertz for the all-time single-season catch record by a tight end, 116, which was back in 2018 or something like that. I mean, put into perspective what you've been able to see out of those two guys this year.
Yeah, I think, starting with Budda, he's easily the greatest player I've ever played with, man. He's every single day. He literally doesn't change, And so as a fan, trust me, you guys know who Budda is. Like, he doesn't ever change. It's the guy he is, on the field, off the field. He's a leader. It's amazing to watch him on tape. The way he plays, like I always say, he has that clip from a couple years ago against Seattle, where he's like, the guy asked him, like, how'd you make that play? And he was like, fearless, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's exactly what he's thinking. He's fearless, man. It's been a blessing to be able to play with him because I've got to see him play on TV, so.
Yeah, when you're young, I'm sure he loves hearing that. When you were younger, you used to watch him, right, in high school and college and all that.
Yeah, he came up to me after he heard that. He started dying laughing. He was like, "Hey, man, don't be saying that," But it was funny. It's and then to go on to Trey, that is easily the most exciting tight end to watch in the league. He's every time he touches the ball, you think he's gonna do something, right? Like, and whether it's hurdle somebody, run somebody over, but he's a fun guy to watch. He's amazing, and to know that this is year 3 for him, right?
Yes.
Could you imagine what he's gonna do the next 10, 15 years, for however long he's gonna play? Like, he's gonna be insane, And to say he's already on pace or trying to beat the tight end record, like, who knows how many tight end records he's gonna go for, So.
Yeah, for me, Trey McBride is a guy that I continue to want to see him develop as a blocker at the point of attack. And he's done a great job of that. Now, he had a couple of games where there was a little bit of a speed bump in there, and Trey would be the first guy to admit that. But that's what I love about the kid.
Right.
He wants to be good.
Right.
He wants to be a true tight end, a true stud tight end, and that's the reason why he's developed.
To speak on that, so on the plane rides, me and him we sit right next to each other on the plane rides for away games. And so after the game, I'll sit there and watch the defensive tape, and he sits there and watches the offensive tape, and we watch all his blocking tapes. Right, it's just like he's like,
right?
He's getting all bad, or he's like, watch this one. Like he loves it, man. He loves the game of football, and I always tell people, when you're around a bunch of people that love the game of football, you're able to thrive, right? But if you're that person that doesn't love football around everybody that loves football, you'll stick out like a sore thumb, man. Because
probably won't be there.
He loves it, man. He loves football through and through. So just being able to talk about with him, Budda, everybody,
And on that note right there, when I think of Budda Baker, and you watch him on tape, it is truly incredible to see a man play fearlessly on every play after play after play.
Right.
It really, and he's the smallest guy on the field typically.
For sure.
And yet he does it play after play after play.
You see all the pictures and stuff of like me playing, or I'm going through all my pictures, and you can see Budda just back there, just like tiny, man. But like looks like he's just ready to pounce, man. He's a beast.
But tell people what that's like to watch a guy play like that.
Yeah.
When he's the smallest guy on the field.
Right. You're able to relay it back to practice, though. You're able to relay it back to OTAs, and then you go on a training camp, and he's the one flying around on tape, and you understand why. This is the 7th Pro Bowl. He's selected to. You understand why. There's nobody like him, man. He's truly one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game.
Well, it's a great segue because here's Budda Baker today. I'm being named to his 7th Pro Bowl.
It's just, head down, take it one day at a time. That's how I truly feel. And these accolades are definitely a blessing. And some people don't make a Pro Bowl, one time in their career. So for me to get 7, that's definitely special. And, I'm going to continue to try to stay consistent, continue to be the best teammate I can be, of course, the best player I can be on the field, and, ultimately get to winning games.
And you talked about Nick Rawlis, right, in the adjustments and how this defense has evolved. I probably couldn't explain it. I couldn't sit here with the X's and O's and break it down. Maybe I'll leave that, to your dad and your uncle. But they have unlocked Budda Baker in year 2 of this scheme, have they not?
For sure.
It used to be teams would run to the opposite side or run away from him, throw it. But no, there is no escaping Budda Baker this year.
I think the biggest thing is, if you're a pitcher, you're going to throw your best pitch, right? And so you might as well just send that bullet flying every single play, So he's ready to go whenever you call his number, So it doesn't matter if you call it once, twice, 30 times a game. He's shooting it, right? So he's awesome.
By the way, we had Trey McBride on not too long ago, and he dubbed Wolf the quality control run game blocking coordinator is what he called Wolf, because Wolf spent the majority of the show talking about his run blocking.
Right.
And Trey's like, come on, man. Let's,
I'm glad you did that.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, Roy, I want this guy to be a true stud tight end.
Right.
Because if you can go 11 personnel in the NFL, one back, one tight end, 3 wide receivers in rundown situation, 1st and 10, 2nd and 1 to 6. If you can go ahead and be balanced, running the ball and throwing it out of that personnel group, oh my goodness, it is such an advantage.
Right.
It's one of the huge advantages that a lot of teams have when they've got that true stud tight end who can be a blocker at the point of attack and yet still produce in the passing game.
Especially with a back like James Conner.
Oh.
So that's another thing is that's another dog right there.
Well,
yes.
The team you're playing on Sunday, right? George Kittle.
Yep.
They've been able to do that for years, correct?
Yes.
Yep. You're
Huge
able to hide your pass run keys when your tight end can catch and block. So that's the biggest thing.
Here you go. Trey McPro Bowl now on being named to his first Pro Bowl.
Something you dream about as a little kid, obviously you want to make it to the pros and then you want to be the best. This is just one step, into that right direction. This is a huge honor for me. Proud just to bring this back home where I'm from. Just a huge honor for not only me, my community, my family, and obviously this organization, hasn't been done by a tight end in a very long time. So this is just a huge honor for not only me, but this organization and everybody.
I mean, he's got the best hands on the team. He's a tight end. He really does. I mean, he had this stretch of 3 games in a row with a hurdle. And then on the sideline, he's really hard on himself. Like, he could catch 10 out of 11, and he is seething. He didn't get that 11th catch.
Oh, yeah.
He's really competitive, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's, being a great player, that's part of it, and you look at the leaders on our team, they're the hardest on themselves, man, and truthfully. And so it's great to see him, in year 3 because, down the road, I'll be able to get to watch him and be like, golly, man, this guy's still doing it, So, because I understand how much he loves the game of football, how much he puts into it. He bleeds for it. And so it's a blessing to watch him.
I think you had an excellent year this year.
Thank you.
How do you feel about your season?
Yeah, I think, thankfully, I know who I am. I know what I bring to the team. And, every single week I kind of tell my family I felt like I played great, So I think that's the biggest thing is being happy the way I played. I enjoy it. I get double teamed a lot, and I live for those, man. I live for the double teams, being able to split it, being able to anchor it, and like I said, when I get a single block, I lick my chops, So I think the film will speak for itself, and I'm happy with what I've done this season.
And you take your face and turn it into a flat shovel as well, which I happen to love.
Yeah.
Hey, we continue with Roy Lopez, our special guest here on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford. We continue live from Trophy and Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson.
1st and 10 on the San Fran 24. Snap to Purdy, standing in the pocket all day to throw. Now pass is tipped and it's intercepted. It was tipped by Lopez and picked off by Mack Wilson at the 25. The Cardinals get a huge takeaway early in the 3rd.
Brock Purdy in the pocket, working to his left, comes back to his right, throws the ball. It's batted into the air by Roy Lopez, and Mack Wilson Sr. comes down with the ball.
All right, so how does that work in the locker room? When you tip it and another guy gets a takeaway, does he owe you something of any sort? How does that work?
Just a high five, That's all I ask. But no, it's something that we get to laugh and share the moment about. But yeah, it was a great play by Mack.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? That was a great second half by the Cardinals defense. They had 4 possessions, 3 takeaways by the Cardinals, and a turnover on downs. And you guys came from 13 down at half, 10 down to start the 4th quarter, got out of there with that 1-point win. It was also about $111 on that field. Right. I mean, that was hotter than Arizona.
Yeah, you pay that, like I keep saying, from the top to the bottom, man. It's all about respect. And that halftime, I remember in the locker room, man, everybody was fired up because it was something that, you know, we knew we got 30 minutes to go get respect, you know, and so that was the difference of. Don't get me wrong, I think we were 2-4 at the time, right?
Trying to remember.
It was week 5, so you think you were, Well, no, you were 2-2, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe 1-3.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
But I know the record could have went way different if we lost that game.
That was a turning point because that was the first of the 4 straight wins to get to 6-4 at the bye. Right. Yeah, that was all part of that.
So when you watch tape right now of the 49ers, what are you seeing on tape?
I think the biggest thing is that they have so many weapons. I think that's every single time, right? And even with losing some weapons, they still have so many weapons. That's a deep roster, you know, and so they play great team ball. So I think that's the biggest thing is you know, as a defense, we got to outperform their defense, you know, and they have a great defense.
So Brock Purdy has been ruled out. Is that correct, Paulie? He's been ruled out for this game. Of course, CMC, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, these guys are all on IR right now. So they've been decimated by injuries, of course. Tell me what you're seeing scheme-wise. What kind of schemes are they still running?
Right, we're expecting Josh Dobbs, you know, to play.
Yes.
You know, so, you know, thankfully he was here. You know, so we.
So you're kind of familiar with his talent.
Right, so being able to, you know, prep for him and he's great with his legs as well, you know, so he's also a great runner. So that's something that we got to prepare, you know, on film, you know, when watching tape, San Fran, understanding that, you know, they are going to be a great offense. You know, I got one of the great play callers in this league, you know, so.
Yeah.
But then also understand that, you know, Josh Dobbs is a guy that can extend a play, you know, with some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Really is a different type of quarterback from Brock Purdy, is he not?
Yeah, I know he's confident in running the ball as well, you know, so whether that's, you know, rushing to get yards or rushing just to extend the play and make a throw, he's a guy that's played a lot of games in this league, you know, so, you know, I know they're not going to really, you know, hold him back too much. They're going to give him the reins to run the offense, and so.
I tell you what, he can really run. I mean, he's not just mobile. Like I think the sideline was like, wow, he can really run. Last year, he took off a few times. Here's the other thing: before Kyler came back, I asked him as a NASA intern and a guy with an aerospace engineering degree, right? I asked him, do you believe in UFOs and aliens? He said no. So just so you're aware of that, he does not believe in UFOs and aliens.
Astronaut, right?
Yeah, astronaut.
That's what they call him.
Yes. Hey, Roy, every member, many members of your family are here, okay? We want to shout out a couple members of the Big Red Rage family, okay? First off, we want to give special thanks to Jeff Marley, Russell Youngs, and the crew all season long here at Trophy and Chandler. How about that?
Yes.
Of course, our sponsor, Santan Ford, Tim Hovick, and the crew, Santan Ford. Roy rolls up, and what is that, a F-250 Super Duty you got there?
Yeah, it's a F-250 Super Duty Limited,
6.7 liter
power
stroke over there.
She's a big girl.
That's a double ding right over there. I like that.
She's a big girl over there.
Our engineer, right, and our dear friend and a veteran of the Army. 56 years ago today, folks, Wald Ellis was awarded the Purple Heart. How about that?
Wow.
Let's celebrate that.
Vulture 13, ladies and gentlemen.
And then seated right here in the front row on the other side, one of the longest tenured Cardinals employees in team history, John Omahundro, former Cardinals trainer. Wolf, I mean, you were in the training room every day, and he took care of you. Are you kidding me?
Johnny-O!
Honored with the inaugural Award of Excellence from the Pro Football Hall of Fame here a couple of years ago as well. How about that?
Think about that. Hall of Famer right there, Johnny-O, of course. And how many times I've actually seen him kneeling over me as I was laying on my back. Oh, my goodness. What is that? Okay.
Screaming, take Wolf's helmet. Take his helmet before he goes back into the game. Oh, man. All right, so what you got anything lined up for the offseason? How are you going to get some mental health after this last game? What do you do for fun in the offseason before you start training again?
I hang out with my family, and we sing a lot of country music, and we laugh a lot. I just picked up golf, which I'm terrible at.
Oh, man.
So that's pretty fun. So, yeah, we'll do that. We'll go to country concerts around the nation and entertain ourselves.
Do you play anything? Any instrument? Do you play it? Or
No.
You just sing?
I'm a great singer.
Are you serious? Like, okay.
I mean, like in the car.
Right, yes. Okay.
Budda
That's
told us
awesome.
Starling Thomas was trying to get Budda to listen to Chris Stapleton. It didn't work out so well. But you need to hang out with Starling Thomas.
I gotta throw it on the stereo.
That's right. All right, special thanks Jim Almondra, Cody Fincher, Walt Ellis, Lawrence Ellis, Alan Urini, for Ron Wolfley, Paul Calvisi,
Thank
Roy
you,
Lopez,
everybody.
everyone. What a season. The Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.